You're listening to the BowHunterPlanet podcast, your gateway to the wonderful world of archery.
Hey guys, welcome to the BowHunterPlanet podcast. I'm Dave Thomas. On today's show, we got a special Halloween edition for you, Larry and Mccoy from Elite Archery. I want to take a special moment to thank Mojack for their support of this podcast. Now let's get to the Halloween edition. Larry, how are you, man? It's good to see you. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, doing good. Yep, Halloween's that time of year.
Yeah, this is I like doing these special editions because I feel like, especially when I can do it like on the day and launch the day, I think that's fun as well, because it's usually we record stuff, pre-record it takes a couple weeks to actually get it out there. So I've been doing these special editions with all the archery companies to see how everybody's doing, what the new products are, and I always thought this is gonna be fun just to sit down and kind of talk about 23 as a whole. You guys have worked super hard in the off season, getting the season, and every time it comes to launching a bow, I mean, I don't know if consumers don't realize the amount of work that goes into this, but there's a lot. And it's not just the engineering. There's engineering, there's form, fit, and function, there's supply chain, there's marketing. I mean, there's just so many things. So
the Omnia was actually stemmed. Josh Sidebottom at the factory, and our engineers did a phenomenal job. It's actually been in the works for quite some time with the new cam system, and being able to deliver that elite feel that has grown pretty popular over the archery community and bow hunters alike. It's with that smooth draw, solid back wall. The one thing that we have delivered decent speeds throughout the course of time through previous models, but this was one of those models that was able to really get everything all gathered up in one unit. And the engineers have been working on it for a couple of years now, because with delivering speed, you almost have to give up something, because it's usually a short break night, a stiffer draw cycle, whatever the bow's going. But I can honestly say this bow right here, it has it all. It has a smooth draw, and it's going to deliver some performance. That as you can see through the World Wide Web and a lot of retailers out there, that they've been 100% impressed with the speeds they're getting out of it, along with that elite shootability feel.
Yeah,
and,
I'll tell you what, Larry, I agree with you 100%. After shooting the bow, like, I was blown away. I really didn't think it could possibly beat the Envision, but in my mind it did. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is no way this can be smooth as that Envision. But I was like, wow, they're actually able to gain speed and have a super smooth bow, if not the same or better than the Envision. To me, it's better, but some people might say opposite, right? And that's subjective, of course. But I can tell you who's going to be mad about this bow. The people are going to be mad about this bow are people who shoot 31-inch draw. That's about it.
For sure. And we know that's an area that that we need to address to make sure we can accommodate those folks as well. But there's a lot in this package, and being able to cover everything. We wanted this to be the year to bring the Omnia out, and Omnia was just a perfect word for our name for the bow, because it's prepared for all, ready for anything, is really what Omnia means. So it's one of those things where we felt like, whether you're, a guy that's, saving up for that big hunt that you've been, waiting to go on all your life, we want to make sure that we built a unit that you can, number one, be confident behind going into that. Because let's face it, people have to save their money up to go on some of those expensive hunts, or whether they're hunting in some of their, their family farms, or just have permission to hunt, or buying a lease, or whatever. That time's valuable. And being able to have a unit that you can customize to the way the shooter is shooting versus the shooter having to adjust to a bow, I feel is very, very valuable. That we want to make sure that point's there. So if you're a guy that does have a little torque in his grip, it has the set technology. It has all the benefits to where you can actually customize and tune this bow to the way that you shoot as a shooter, and not the shooter having to adjust to the bow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was going to say, real quick, I'll run through the specs for anybody listening that didn't get a chance to see it yet. The Omnia is MSRP $11.99, based on black. They have a couple camos that are still being that price point, and they do have some solids too in here. You guys got that Sienna Brown, I believe, and this one here, which is the outdoor green, and the Mountain Tan are still all $11.99. If you want the one that I really like, the Sour Apple, it's an additional $100, so $12.99 for those. There's only a couple you guys have like that. It's the Silver Alloy, Purple Rain,
Yep.
the Teal, and Orange Ignition, and Cobalt Blue. So all those are extra 100, but that's because you guys are doing the solid colors. It's kind of out of process, probably for you.
Yeah.
Specs 32-inch axle, brace height is 6 inches, 4.5 mass weight, 24.5 to 30-inch draw lengths, 40, 50, 60, 65, and 70 pounds of peak weights, up to 90% let off, right or left-handed, which is a big deal because sometimes bow manufacturers aren't able to do a lefty sometimes when you're hoping they are, and upwards of 347 feet per second IBO. So Larry, last time we talked, I actually took some notes because I was curious. We had talked a little bit about the cam, and I know the SP cam is this, this is the engine behind this bow. Can you explain to the consumers the different module systems, like how that works with these micros?
Yeah. So the SP cam, it's a little bit bigger in size for the cam, so the takeoff's a little different. So with the axle lengths, the guys that are 30 inches, you're not going to run into that string angle peak, that peep, being at a severe angle issue. But the mods that come out, it's going to come from the factory with a performance mod. But there is a smooth mod available for that you could purchase separately if you did want a smoother mod. You're going to lose probably about I'm going to say anywhere from 7, depending on the draw length, 7 to 10 feet per second probably, or you can go to 75% let off. But what these mods do allow you to do with the micro stops is you can actually micro adjust your holding weight or your let off as well, just with literally just loosening up the button head, putting the Allen wrench in that little gear, and you can just basically hone in the exact holding weight that you want, anywhere from 75 to 90%. So it's, when I say the bow is customizable to what you like as a shooter, you can literally make this bow feel and perform the way that you want it to.
Hey, and welcome to BowHunterPlanet.com podcast. Thank you so much for your support in watching this show here on Carbon TV or listening to it wherever you get your podcast. I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsors who help us bring this show to you guys and keep it interesting and fun. I want to thank Tinks, Cat Work Truck, Camp Chef, Cobra Archery, HHA and HHA USA, Mojack, Thorn Broadheads, Victory Archery, Burris, Reveal Trail Cams, Apex Competitions, Heat Hog, Deer Camp Coffee, and Under Armour. Make sure you check out and log on and sign up on the BowHunterPlanet.com brand new website. It is simple, it is awesome, and it's a great place to chat bow hunting and archery with a whole bunch of like-minded people. So we'll see you soon, and now back to the show.
Yeah, I think it's we talked about this a little bit before, but it is very important that you guys are offering the concept of shootability, but now you're actually offering shootability with the sense that it's actually going to be perfectly for you based on what you need. So yeah, some average people might not care too much about certain things like that, but some people want it to be extremely specific to what they're doing, which means going within those small amounts of change. And I think it's important because why not do it if you have the ability to do it,
Right.
if
Well,
you really want to get
yeah,
crazy.
you bring up a good point. Yeah, you bring up a good point because a lot of people because they don't know. You know what I'm saying? They don't know whether they're going to shoot better with a 80% let off versus a 90% let off based upon how you operate your release and how you execute your shot. I reference baseball a lot. Hitters. You can go to, everybody talks about archery form and shooting form. Well, I know this. There's a lot of baseball players that step into the batter's box, and not every one of them have the same batting stance or the same mechanics when they swing the bat, but they can still go out and perform. It's all about being repetitive and making sure you can do the same thing over and over again. What we've done with this unit uh, is really made it easy to customize the bow to where you can be repeatable and be comfortable doing it. Because if you're comfortable, you're going to shoot better. Your confidence is going to go up, and because most people, they usually adapt to the bow versus making the bow adapt to the way you shoot. And that's what we're super proud of. I know the engineers worked hard, and the fit and finish of the bows are top notch in my opinion. And they look the part, and they definitely perform. I was super impressed and pleased with the way the output of the Omnia for sure.
Yeah, that's well said. And I think that I think for many years, the industry has been kind of like, this is your out of box solution, right? And I think what this has done is kind of started to tweak this to where it's like, it's not an out of box anymore. Now it's very specific to you. And I think this is definitely a change that we're seeing in the industry, specifically with Elite, because of all these specific changes you can do by yourself and with your pro staff guy. So this is a pro shop person. This is, to me, and like I said, if it didn't shoot well, it'd be one thing, but the bow shoots so nice that it's, very exciting. So tell us about some other tech on the bow. I know we got some new suppression on here and some other things.
So yeah, they did add what they call the Delta VRT, and it's 100% effective. I know a lot of people out there. It's basically a dampening system in the bottom part of the riser, and that literally eliminates all vibration on the shot. So the bow is super dead in hand, and it was very important to make sure that it was placed in the right spot based upon where the energy was leaving the bow. Hence, that's where it's going to be vibrating, what's causing the vibration. So putting that where it is located on the riser was of the utmost importance, and it's mind blowing how dead this bow is. When you shoot it, that's one of the first things that people say on top of the speed is, man, that thing is, for being that fast, it's super dead in your hand. And that's called the Delta VRT. It's proven to be, totally effective as far as you not feeling anything on the shot, I guess. So the
Yeah,
other
it's
thing too,
interesting. I tested it myself, actually. I tested it against the Envision, and I did feel a difference. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know for sure if it'd work or not, but I hit the same area on both bows, and I could tell there was a slight difference. And the
yep,
Omnia, there's nothing. There's no feel at all when you hit it, which is impressive.
yeah. So that was super impactful. The other thing too is, you mentioned, the bow shop or the bow technicians, in the shop. We talked about real quick briefly about, making it to where it's customable, where a guy can change some things up on the line with the set technology and just adding to that. For the bow technician, this bow's a dream to work on because, to making sure that a bow is in time is super easy with the micro stops. You can literally put the bow on a draw board, make sure that either the cable stop or the limb stops, whichever you choose, are hitting at the exact same time just by literally turning that screw versus having to press it, take a cable off, give it some twist to make sure the bow's responding the way you want. So it has made it easier not only for the end consumer but for the bow technician as well. Uh, and like I said, it's something that we could talk about all day, but you really have to go experience it, because a bow that IBOs at 347 or beyond that has no vibration, it seems like a heck of a marketing pitch. But I can tell you that, and I'm just as big a skeptic as anybody, and people know that I'm going to shoot you straight whenever they ask me. And I was actually blown away by how dead the bow was, being it was producing the speeds that it was with a 6-inch brace height. There's a lot of energy leaving that bow, and for it to just feel dead in your hand, that's something. So, and super comfortable bow to shoot. The like we said, the typical Elite smooth draw. You can pick between whether you want to use the cable stop or a limb stop. And a lot of people are like, well, how do I know which one I like? I was, well, try it. A lot of it depends on what release you're shooting. A lot of guys that are shooting a thumb button style release, they want that cable stop so they can have a little bit more cushion on the back, just a little bit of give to get that release to fire easier. And some people shooting a wrist strap release that want to just pull through like that super hard back wall. So it really has every option for about any shooter. It's just about being able to customize it to the way that you like to shoot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about the Verdict. I know this bow's a lot longer, axle 37.75, but is this I'm assuming this is a bow people are using for hunting, but also obviously for target stuff and or 3D.
Yes. The Verdict, it was a huge hit. We launched that just a little bit, I think, at the ASIC, and we had some bows there for people to shoot. And it was the reception of that bow was outstanding. I mean, it's has the SP same style of cam. It's called the SPX cam, and with all the same features, but it's literally a dead in hand target bow that points and aims perfect. We've had nothing but positive response coming from the target shooters and the shops that have them. The consumer level, super positive response on it. The bow performs super well.
I want to talk about this liquid bronze color. This looks phenomenal. This is something you don't see
Yeah.
every day. I mean, it looks really cool. I'm like, man, that it's pretty interesting because the look of it's like a shiny brown almost, it looks so cool.
Yeah, it is kind of that liquid bronze. It's probably my favorite out of the colors that we've had from a new color perspective. It's totally different. It has some sheen to it. It's a brown with but in the light it kind of has some little different iridescence. I mean, it's a bow that you can clearly hunt with as well. But it does look sharp and it looks very, very premier, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no. So a thing that's been going on a lot, Larry, that I've been noticing in the industry, not necessarily the industry, but in the new consumer market, is people are looking for low cost solutions to get into archery. They're looking to try to make their first step into it. So you guys have actually a decent amount of bows that are starting to meet that middle ground level. With the Ember at $549.99. You guys also have the Basin RTS, the Basin by itself, the Ember RTS. So you do guys are starting to put in these solutions that are going to fix some of these things that the entry person needs. This goes up from, let's see, you guys have the Ember, the Basin, and the Terrain. And each of these are within a certain amount of money, right? Yeah. So the Ember's $549. This is bare bow, by the way, everybody. And then it goes to the Basin $599 and the Terrain $699. So tell us a little bit about this strategy. I guess this middle ground is the goal for this to get people involved with Elite, like get them starting out with an Elite at some point and then grow them into the an Omnia type thing.
Well, the thing is those bows, let's face it, in today's world, I mean, every dollar's hard earned, with the prices of everything going up, and being able to get in that space to where of someone that's wanting to get in there that maybe don't have the budget for an Omnia or we want to make sure that we have something where they can experience what Elite offer. So with that being said, the Ember and the Basin, they're highly adjustable bows at an affordable. In my opinion, they're a best in class product. They shoot tremendously well. I turkey hunted with a Basin, and the bow shoots phenomenal. You can choose to have your limb stops and cable stops as well. It's you can, if you're a young archer that's that maybe can't pull back 50 pounds, but they can pull back. You can actually, it has a tremendous amount of adjustment.
20 to 70.
Yeah, 20 to 70. So
16 to 30 inches of draw. That's insane.
Yeah. So there's a lot of flexibility there for you as a shooter, but all in feeling like an Elite, with a smooth draw, with the making sure that you have a solid back wall and you can feel comfortable, because typically bows in that space, when you get them at full draw, they have that valley where you're really trying to pull and settle in, and that can actually create some bad habits. So it was important to us when we got into this space to make sure that we had a good solid stop for young shooters or new archers, so they can actually feel what a bow's supposed to feel like, not shooting a bow when they're overdrawn or shooting it short. And then, so going up to the Terrain is it's got mid-price bow with a lot of bells and whistles that you're just going to get a lot of performance out of. I mean, the bow doesn't have like a roller guard. It has the cable slide bar, but the bow feels like 100% Elite. It draws good and the bow performs flawlessly. So rotating mod, so you can you can adjust the draw length, hone that in right where it needs to be, and then just keep things keep things in motion. Like, it's all about hunting on a budget and making sure you've got quality gear to take to the woods and you can get confident behind.
Yeah, no, I love this. Yeah, I love this price point. I think the $700 mark's spot on for a bow like this, what you're getting. I mean, this bow is a 32.5 axle 7-inch brace, so it's a very big brace height, 3.9 pounds, which is super light nowadays. I mean, most of the average now is like 4.5 that I'm seeing. 25.5 to 31.5, so it fixes that 31-inch thing we talked about earlier. And a lot to
Yeah.
offer on this thing, all the way up to 70 pounds, 325 IBO. So yeah, that's a great building block in my opinion. So someone who buys that bow definitely could sit in this bow forever, no doubt about it. However, this will give them that first taste of the Elite brand, and where to go from there, you know, that's up to them. If they want to go higher or stick right with this bow, either way is fine. But like you said, you know, you're going to get the more bells and whistles on the Omnia and the Envision. They're going to have the different cable roller guards. They're going to have some different things, right? So that's just kind of how it goes with archery. But honestly, I'm impressed you guys have stuff in this category. So I don't know. I just don't know if a lot of people realize that. That's why I wanted to bring it up today, is just that Elite does have mid-price bows for you guys to get your hands on, check out. Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing it up, because the thing is we've, Elite's known for the term shootability and being able to, really see what a shoot, from the shooting experience, to be able to hook onto your D loop, draw the bow back, and feel comfortable shooting. It's no different with those models. So just because we did not cut any corners as it pertains to the price of the bow, you're still getting a best in class product with that. And we wanted to share the Elite experience. We want more Elite shooters out there, because at the end of the day, you know every bow brand makes a good bow. They really do. It's just about really, are you comfortable shooting that bow, this brand versus that brand, or that particular bow versus that? Because going back to, hey, you hear people, I'm a 29-inch draw length. Well, you may be a 29 in a Bowtech, but in a Matthews, you may be a, 28 3/4, or in an Elite, you may be a 29 1/4, or, it's about really honing in, making sure that bow fits you to where you're comfortable shooting. Because, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, if you're comfortable, you're going to shoot better.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So let's talk real quick about some of the accessories you guys launched as well. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff that came out alongside the new bow. I guess tell us a little about the accessories.
So one thing we added this year was the sidekick. The sidekick is basically for those who like to shoot a back bar. In the Omnia, we do have it's an integrated mount that goes in for a back bar mount that is adjustable, but it bolts right into the riser, keeps the profile super slim, and it's a very, very nice unit. A lot of adjustment to it as well, so you can hone the back bar in right where you want. Uh, then also we have the quiver. We have a micro bars in the Elite brand now as well. So you can buy that as a hunt kit. So you do get a front bar and a back bar as well, to match the color of bow that you do order, which was highly requested by a lot of the Elite shooters out there. They were like, man, we love the Elite bars, but if we just had a micro bar. And so the engineers listened, and they came up with those as well. So you can adjust, you can add 1 ounce weights or 2 ounce weights or whatever to it, to make sure you hone it in to the exact feel that you want. But yeah, it's those are two of the, and then of course we do have the 4 and 6 arrow quivers to match your bow as well. So you can rig it out 100% with Elite. We do have an HDX QAD rest available too. So it's branded Elite. And the back of that rest is actually machined to profile of the Elite riser. So it is easy to bolt on, make sure that everything's centered up. But yeah, it's, and then of course, with the set technology, included on the recent bows and everything, it makes tuning a dream. If you're a broadhead, you've had trouble getting broadheads to fly, the set is definitely going to help you be able to get them to fly without having to put them in a bow press. You can do it right there on the line, and make sure you get your broadheads flying great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about this suppression beacon light system. What's the situation with this thing? It's pretty cool.
Okay, so basically what that is, we took the limb dampeners that come with the bow, and in one of those we added a light, so it can be recharged, and it can it'll glow white or green. So basically going into the woods in the dark and all that stuff, trying to, headlamps have grown in popularity, of course, versus holding a flashlight. Well, now it's just right on your bow. If you're holding your bow, that could be pointing, leading the path, or if you're tracking an animal, whatever. It does make it handy, especially getting up in the tree. I found myself a lot of, when I'm going in the dark, uh, to go ahead and turn that thing on green. That way I can see, because safety is first too. And sometimes getting in a tree in the dark, can be a little bit uneasy. But being able to see definitely helps. So really, it's just a light, another feature that we're offering. Not only is it going to dampen your bow, doesn't change the way the bow shoots, doesn't change the amount of vibration. It's going to be the same as the other one, but you just have the addition with the light.
Yeah, I absolutely love this idea. I think it's so genius. And to be honest with you, I'm all about these type of things, because this is, to me, is like, these are the types of things that make bow hunting easier, or make it easier for the bow hunter. Because now I don't have to carry a separate flashlight. Literally can carry this and put a light on both sides of the bow, and it'll help me see everything. And
Yeah.
even when I'm getting up and down the tree, I can, if I'm hoisting the bow, I can see the bow coming up. It's just a lot easier overall. So this is very smart move, and I think that this will do very, very well for you guys. Is this made like to be exclusive with Elite bows, or is this made where people can put it in other brands?
People can put it with other brand. We actually sell one too under the CBE brand
Oh,
as
okay.
well. So pretty much uh pretty much the same concept, same uh deal, but it's just branded CBE as it says. So if you are shooting a different bow brand, you don't have to buy this from Elite. You can buy it from CBE.
Oh,
They'll
I
have to send
love it.
it. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you guys did that. It was very smart, because people are going to want this. I'm telling you, this is something that's just one of those things that everybody's going to want. It doesn't really matter what brand you shoot. You're going to want something like this, because it's so cool.
Yeah. Well,
Very
and
cool. So,
another scenario that I've had happen to me was just like you said, pulling your bow up after you get in a tree. Every once in a while, there's that one limb or whatever you got to try to lift it
yeah.
around or whatever. And it's hard to do in the dark. So knowing there, because the last thing you want is a limb going through your sight housing and your bow's hung up, and the first thing is, okay, I got to yank it up through there. Next thing you know, you get it up there and your fibers busted, or something, something along those lines, something happened to your sight. So um, it's definitely I think a cool concept that I think could be valuable to every bow hunter in the field.
Yeah, awesome. That's so cool. Hey, Larry, how long have you guys been making stabilizers? I honestly I didn't think about it that way. And I was like, wait a minute, Elite stabilizer. I don't know how long they've been doing that. Have you guys always done that, or is that something you guys acquired, or how'd that work?
No, we've had made stabilizers quite a bit. Uh, but this year we kind of really poured the gas on it with having more options, because trying to, sleek everything down, make the bow be more sleek so it's not, you know, not so bulky in the hand and so on and so forth. So that's why we went to a micro bar offering as well. But we've had them in the line for a while, but just last year we made them to where they matched all of our color options.
That's cool. Very cool. All right, Larry, last one here. I just want to ask you about Slick Trick. I know, this is mainly an Elite conversation, but you guys do own Slick Trick. And in here, I guess tell me about the torch, because I know it's a new one you guys have launched and are pushing right now.
Yeah, so the Slick Trick torch, it's been received really well. Um, I was fortunate enough to do a lot of testing with this head. People that know me know that I'm kind of a broadhead geek, I guess, if to say the least. So I do a lot of testing, and I do the standard testing, whatever ballistic gel and plywood and all that. But more so, we were able to test this on more animals in the field. It was very important with a rear deploy broadhead, because with any rear deploy, you're going to lose a little energy on impact. And yeah, I know broadhead companies promote big entrance holes, which is great, but we want to try to minimize that and build a broadhead that was very, very robust, uh,
Mhm.
and be able to be effective as far as really minimize the amount of energy lost on impact being a rear deploy. So we got the material dialed in. It's aluminum ferrule with a titanium tip, with a 2-inch cutting diameter, and it's single bevel. So it's uh, the blades are sharp, and I can tell you through the testing, I was super pleased with the engineers, working with the engineers. up there with some of the response I was getting, and breaking down the shots that were on video, literally frame by frame, trying to see what it does and really analyzing what it was doing when it entered the cavity, or if I had to pass through, X, and making sure that the single bevel offset was inhibiting the rotation we anticipated. Meaning, on an entrance, you may have them two blades go in like this, but if it exited, they'd be like that. Well, that tells you one thing, that arrow is doing what it's supposed to do. It's rotating inside there. So we've had nothing but really positive response with it, because let's face it, Slick Trick has been more known for its fixed blade until the recent years, with starting with the Raptor trick, and then going to the Assailant, and now we have the Torch, which is the rear deploy. So and it's proven to be super, super tough, and flies really, really well, and devastating to animals.
Yeah, that thing looks great. I love those type of broadheads. The other one I was looking at on here that kind of gave me a little inspiration, and I looked at it and I thought, what the heck is this? And I've heard of it. I've just never actually seen it used or have used, is the Grizz Trick 2. I really like the look of this broadhead. It has that very pointy point, and then it enters, then it just devastates on the back end. I mean, it looks pretty sick.
Yeah, they are pretty devastating. They are for a fixed head. Blade angle is a little steeper to increase the cutting diameter a little bit. It's a head that I would reference that guy that's 40 and in. I mean, a lot of guys they shoot well at longer distance, but I mean, they've got pinpoint accuracy there. If the guys that are shooting in timber or hunting hardwoods and stuff, it's one that's not going to deflect. Whatever it hits, it's going to go through.
Yeah, that thing is vicious. That's just wow. And I realized now you're saying that, I was looking at all the heads, and a lot of them obviously are fixed blade. You guys have a lot of it. You also have a hybrid in there as well, which looks wild. That thing looks wicked wild, man.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
one piece looks awesome too. That thing looks vicious.
Yeah. Yeah. The SS3's probably got a lot of Western influence to that, building that one piece. It's super, super strong head, and flies like a laser as well. And like you mentioned, the hybrid, that's the Assailant, and it was proven to be a very, very effective head as well. That head flies tremendously well. It was kind of, the ferrule design was kind of re-swizzled from the Viper trick, so has kind of a cut on contact ferrule, and then has a 7/8 bleeder on it as well, with an 1 3/4 inch cutting diameter.
Wow, thing's vicious. Can the hybrid and or the Grizz Trick 2, can those be used on a crossbow, or they have a special variant, or no?
No, yes, they can. They both can
They
be
can.
shot out of. Mhm.
And one last question on Slick Trick. So this Raptor trick, is this one that enters the animal then deploys?
Yeah, so it's the Raptor trick's a great design, and I've harvested a ton of animals with the Raptor trick, and so it enters the carcass before the blades deploy, and this guy has a single bevel offset as well, and so it limits rotation. But with the Raptor trick, the back of the blades are sharp as well. So one thing about the Raptor trick, if you look at the ferrule, the tip is wider than the shank of the ferrule, and what that does is that causes relief to make sure the arrow wants to keep going, so you're not losing momentum. If you were to take a screw and just take a 2x4 and just try to drill that screw in there, it's going to be a lot tougher to go. If you drill a pilot hole, that screw is going to go right in. It's the same concept with that particular head. It's a little bit wider, so it's relieving that ferrule, so the blades can open and cut, versus slow down.
Yeah, that head on that looks vicious. I've never seen a head like that. It looks so cool. That thing is awesome. Looks like a dinosaur tooth or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we've
been really pleased, and that's one of my favorite things to do, is test those broadheads, not because for our show, respect the game, but just because we want to, literally, I mean, I'll pick them apart, get with the engineers, and like the Torch, for instance, I mean, we changed the tip 4 times, the way the mechanism works, because on the Torch, one thing to mention is once those blades deploy, they lock open. So they're not going to shut. Their blades aren't going to move around. It's going to continue to stay open, There's no chance of it not deploying. It's going to deploy, and then you can actually just reset it and use it again.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so cool. How's things going on the show? Respect the game. What are you guys up to over there?
Man, we're grinding it out. I'll tell you, we're obviously, with it being Halloween, it's that time of year, so we're going to be
Yeah.
hitting the road. Had a we've had a pretty good season so far, but we just got to continue it and keep stuff going. We love being in the woods, and our show's really just about buddies hunting together. We just get to have the are fortunate to be able to go out and test some of these products and help the manufacturers out within the field. And like I said, that's one thing about us. There's no really holds barred. I mean, we're going to give you our honest opinion about the products, and that's just the way it is. I mean, because we're all bow hunters alike, and you got to be confident in your gear, and being able to be a part of the testing really inhibits that and helps us be able to talk about it, the pros, the cons, the goods, the bads, because things happen when you're bow hunting. No matter how good of a bow shot you are, uh, things happen, and you've got to be able to talk about it, forget about it, and go out and keep driving, and turn that bad luck into good luck. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, Larry, I got one question that came through. I did a post while we were talking. If anybody had questions for Elite, the only question that came up so far was 80-pound anytime soon, question mark.
80-pound anytime soon. We had 75-pound on the Envision, but we weren't seeing enough, honestly, performance difference from that. I understand why people would want the 80 pounds. I don't have a good answer to know whether soon would be but I do definitely know that we do a lot of testing with the higher poundage limb deflections.
Yeah, for me, it's never been even a question. I wouldn't want a bow that's 80-pound plus. I just can't pull it. So to me, I get some people are super strong, but I would think that I know there's some bow companies who have higher poundage bows like that, but I would think that the volume of sales would be pretty small for that type of weight. I just don't imagine normal people buying that much power.
In the great scheme of things, you're right, and that's ultimately, can we physically build a bow
Of course.
with that? Yeah, we can.
We gotta make money.
Yeah, sales have to reflect that, because for every 80-pound bow that we're building, we're taking away from one that's actually, one that's selling, whether it be a 60, 65, 70, or even 75 pound in some cases.
The problem is you might have to beef up that bow as you get higher in weight, like the limbs might need to get wider, or so, whatever it is. But those one-off costs could be very expensive, I would think, for any company, not just you guys.
Yeah, but I mean, if for those people, I mean, if they're requesting 80-pound bows, make sure they continue to let us know, because the more we get, the more that is one thing I will say about Elite in up at the factory. They do pay attention to the customer base and what they're saying. Obviously, as you stated earlier, the long draw side of it, the 31 inches, is something that we definitely need to address moving forward, but as well. So I mean, we hear them all loud and clear, and we just want to make sure we're continuing to try to deliver a great shooting experience for everybody.
Yeah,
So
well said.
but,
I think that's the case, right? Just trying to get it right, for the majority that you can, obviously.
yeah, for sure.
All right, let me check. Just make sure we got no other ones that came through last second, but I did post a little late, so I don't think we'll have much here. But I'll take these questions that come through, Larry, and I'll make sure I email them to you guys that come through after the show, so at least you guys can look at them and we can put them in the comments or something cool. So hey, listen, Larry, I appreciate you coming on and doing this. I know it's last minute and it's Halloween, so I know we're all busy, have stuff to do at family and stuff. So thanks for coming on. Great job this year again to you and the team. Hats off from our team to yours on this bow. The Omnia is a true shooter. If you haven't shot the bow, you definitely need to get out and shoot this bow. It is one that is definitely going to be eye turners for a lot of people. And in fact, I truly believe people are going to shoot this bow that don't normally shoot an Elite and going to buy an Elite this year, because this is what's going to happen. It's that nice of a bow. So congratulations, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on, Dave. I appreciate everything that you and the BowHunterPlanet team do for the sport of archery and keeping it real with everybody. Man, it's something that's what keeps us striving be the best we can be, bud. So appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate that. And we'll see you guys next time on the BowHunterPlanet podcast. And have a great day. Happy Halloween.
The BowHunterPlanet podcast would like to thank our outdoor partners for their support. It's because of these companies we can keep this show educating, entertaining, and growing the archery heritage.